Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August the 8th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Friday to ya. Hopefully, this episode finds you in a good place and a good state of mind on a Friday. Hopefully, you're feeling those Friday vibes, even if you're not listening on a Friday. As for me, my day was good. We got up. We pretty much got right to it. We went to work. Work was good. It was solid. No complaints. After work, we went to the gym. Gym was good. No complaints. I was a little nervous, being that this is a heavy lift day, and last week we literally blew out our back. Pause. But this was a different outcome. Overall, everything worked as it should, and I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm excited to start off the weekend well. Let's see here. I really don't have much to report on the personal side, so we can go ahead and just do the startup and let's get into some news. Ooh wee. All right. Our first story comes from CNN. Shooter appeared to target CDC headquarters in shooting that left police officer dead, sources say. A police officer was killed during an active shooter incident on the campus of Emory University in Atlanta, authorities said tonight. The shooter is also dead, according to authorities. Police are operating under the theory that the shooter was either sick or believed that he was sick and blamed the illness on the COVID-19 vaccine. A law enforcement official told CNN. An employee at the CDC, which is near Emory, told CNN he saw a man approach the agency's HQ and shoot at the building. Staff working at a nearby deli heard gunshots and locked themselves inside, the AP reported. It sounded like fireworks going off, one right after the other. Now, we don't have many details, at least as of yet, on the name of the shooter or the police officer, at least not from this article. We also don't know why the police officer was there. That's been mentioned. Like, he wasn't, I'm trying to think of the word, not sanctioned, but like he wasn't on duty for that spot. He just happened to be there. But yeah, obviously very unfortunate situation to take place. A silver lining, though, was that there was a daycare with, I believe, like 92 kids, and all the kids are safe, so that's good. But obviously a very scary, dramatic day for sure. But let's see, we're going to move from one breaking news shooting. Oh, there's also, he brought multiple firearms. And he was wearing a surgical mask, which I don't know. For some reason, I do think there's a bit of irony there for a guy who didn't like the COVID-19 vaccine and was like probably a guy who was like anti-mask. I'm assuming. Obviously, I'm just speculating here. But then to be like, yeah, I'm gonna use this though as like my little disguise. So I don't know. It's weird, but obviously this is a very weird, strange situation, and we will be back to cover more any updates I get on this. Also, crazy too that I'm thinking about it. It was mentioned in another article I had read where, obviously we had just covered the Fort Stewart shooting. Excuse me. Oh, that's a big burp. And this happens literally like the next day. So that's really intense. But yeah, let's move on. Going to Montana, we got an update. Sorry, I got to scroll all the way up to the top. From ABC News, Montana bar shooting suspect taken into custody week after killing four. The former U.S. Army soldier accused of gunning down four people at a Montana bar has been captured following a week-long manhunt, the Granite County Sheriff's Office said Friday. Michael Paul Brown, 45, is suspected of opening fire on August 1st at the Owl Bar in Anaconda. a city of about 9,000 people in southwest Montana, authorities said. Let's see here. There had not been a confirmed sighting of Brown in days following the shooting. At approximately 2 p.m. on Friday, authorities apprehended and arrested the suspect near the area in Anaconda. Montana Attorney General Austin Knudsen said. He's now in the custody of Anaconda Deer Lodge County authorities, Knudsen said. Dozens of local, state, and federal agencies were involved in the search. Anaconda Deer Lodge County Attorney Morgan Smith said. And then we have the names of the people who were killed in the shooting, which we didn't initially cover when we first touched the story. Those killed in the shooting were bartender Nancy Loretta Kelly, 64, and patrons Daniel Edwin Bailey, 59, David Allen Leach, 70, and Tony Wayne Palm, 74. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take a little quick drink for them. I don't normally do that, but, you know. Also, I did not know, like, because I've seen that photo that I have in the thumbnail before, like, over the week. And I was like, I wonder where they captured that, like where they took that photo. And I think that he lived right next to the bar, and that photo was taken, like, after the incident. Which, once again, we are definitely going to be coming back to this story to get more answers, because this is not enough. You know, in this situation, we at least have a name, but we still don't have a motive. And we still don't know, like, why he was in this, like, disheveled state doing whatever the hell he was doing that day. Like, you know what I mean? I would definitely like to know some answers here. Yeah, like, I'm actually going to read the little explainer of the photo here. Michael Paul Brown flees the scene after he allegedly opened fire, killing a bartender and 3 patrons at the Owl Bar in Anaconda, Montana. But yes, he is an Army veteran who served in the Iraq War and the Montana National Guard, according to Knudsen. So yeah, we will definitely be, once again, back on the story. Now we're going to segue to some international news. We're going to go and we haven't talked about Israel, about Gaza in a little bit. It's been some days. Obviously, things have been going on. I know maybe some stuff that I didn't cover, maybe I should have. At one point, Hamas released a video, I believe, of 2 Jewish hostages that were alive. They were very starved, and they released that video, and there was really bad negative reaction about that. Though, to me, it's kind of unrelated to the events that we are leading up to now, but I know that there are going to be some people who are saying, no, well, it's all connected and it all ramps up to the next thing. But essentially, Netanyahu has been cooking up this idea, and I mean, I don't know if it's just Netanyahu, I don't think so, but overall top brass, they're trying to essentially occupy all of Gaza. So that is what they are looking to do, and it looks like we are moving closer to that. I mentioned before that currently they occupy about 85%. If you go to certain news outlets, they will say less. But I mean, you could argue that it's more. You could argue that they already do have full control over it. It's just they are areas that they are not fully penetrating as of yet, and they're still kind of quote unquote little enclaves where either the hostages might be, where there might be some core Hamas, whatever. But essentially they're saying, no, we are going to occupy it all. That is what we are moving to do. We are moving to occupy Gaza City. So yeah, that is where we pick up here from CNN. World leaders criticize Israel's plan to take over Gaza City. Israel's security cabinet approved a plan to take control of Gaza City. The announcement stopped short of explicitly stating that Israel would take full control over the Gaza Strip, although Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said yesterday that was the intention. He insists Israel won't occupy Gaza. That's what it is. I believe, 20 years ago, they had done this before to, the, dismay of the international community. It did not go well. They just merely bled themselves out in terms of just resources, and they didn't accomplish anything that I feel like they wanted to accomplish, and they wound up just leaving. And now we are back. It is very much a full circle situation is what it seems. If anything, it's much worse, especially with some of the things that they are talking about doing before, which we've mentioned. And we don't know even how far they're going to go with it. I mean, there's still, even though there's visual evidence, like you have satellite footage showing they're massing the troops, we technically don't know until they do it. But from here, we don't really know what happens. It seems that things will get worse. I know in terms of Israelis who are against it. It seems a lot in terms of like any of the people who are like trying to get the hostages released, because essentially they're saying if you make this push and you push into the full rest of Gaza, you are most likely damning the remaining living hostages, which are I think about 20 out of the 50 that they have. You're pretty much issuing a death sentence to them, because there's just going to be no way in all of this conflict that you're going to be able to save anybody. Most likely you're killing a lot of people. But then not to mention, you are killing a lot of innocent civilians. Innocent Palestinians are going to die because of this, as they already are. It goes without saying. But this is further from any kind of peace, any kind of ceasefire. This is not going to bring that at all. But at least from Israel's perspective, if they fully do this, it gets them closer to eradicating Hamas. At least that's according to their narrative here. And, potentially gives them a chance at getting and freeing hostages, I guess. That is what they're trying to say here. And shit, I even heard like headlines of Smotrich wanting more. Basil Smotrich, as part of the Likud, far-right party, essentially just begging Netanyahu to let them do more evil fucking shit, more atrocities, more fucking violence. Let's see here. Germany halts arms exports. I guess this was like a big kind of instant backlash that kind of came up. Chancellor Friedrich Merz announced that Germany, the second largest supplier of arms to Israel, won't approve any exports of military equipment that could be used by Israel in Gaza. I mean, that's something, at least saying, hey, don't do this. This is bad. Excuse me. Obviously, you have other, countries stepping up saying this is terrible. Don't do this. This is wrong. But of course, you don't hear much out of America at this point. They're seemingly like, okay, we'll see how this goes. Like it's very much a watch and wait kind of situation, knowing good and damn well that you could stop this. You know what I mean? You could actually just say like, if you do this, we aren't going to give you any more shit. Period. Full out. For fucking starters. So I mean, but of course we're fucking complicit. As the fucking U.S. Obviously, there's more details here, and I do, feel bad that I feel like I haven't been as on it in terms of, coverage on this. But, I do try to cover any major stuff I hear, and this feels relevant. Them making this more or less final push to fully take over Gaza, even though they're trying to say, no, that's not what we're doing. Like, that's not what we're doing at all. Also, too, that you're essentially making this like full on like military rule, the whole ills that come with a full on occupation that they are saying they're not going to do. But it's like, no, you will do it if you do this. If you commit to this the way you are, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just going to be a question of how long you're going to be doing it. Right. So, yeah, depressing shit. It's heavy shit. But, I knew it was worth mentioning. So here we are. Let's go ahead and move on, though, to our last story. We are talking Trump. We are talking schools. We're talking college. Man, I love college. Yeah, man, I love drink. Okay, anyway, I'm going to take my last break, and then we're going to close it out. I'll tell you what, Trump does not love college. I think he hates college, or at least he loves shaking down colleges, but we're going to get into that. Oh boy, oh boy. I'm looking at a Lazy Boy ad right now, and I did not know that Lazy Boy was still a company. I didn't. So, I mean, celebrate National Lazy Day. Hell yeah, I'll drink to that, brother. Hashtag not sponsored. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, from the Los Angeles Times that I had to get from Yahoo News. So really shout out to Yahoo News for not paywalling. Anyway, hours after the Trump administration demanded that the University of California pay a $1 billion fine to settle federal accusations of anti-Semitism in exchange for restoring frozen grant funding to UCLA, Governor Gavin Newsom called the proposal extortion and said that the state will go to court to protect the nation's premier university system. We'll sue, Newsom said during a news conference with Texas legislators over California's effort to counter a contentious Republican redistricting plan in the state, which we've talked about. There's also a bunch of updates in that. I also got to see a little bit of the map that they're trying to gerrymander. It looks fucking ridiculous. Like, they literally go like over the river and through the woods to make like this Republican section and then just annex this like Democratic part of Austin. It's crazy shit. Maybe we'll get to it at some point. Also, they're trying to get the fucking FBI involved to like literally round up Democrats who fled Texas. I mean, they're so fucking much. It's so crazy. But let's stick to the shakedown at hand. I'm sorry. President Trump is trying to silence academic freedom by attacking one of the most important public institutions in the United States of America, Newsom said, adding that he would stand tall and push back against that. And I believe every member of California legislature feels the same way. The federal government on Friday said UC should pay the $1 billion fine in installments and contribute $172 million to fund for Jewish students and other individuals affected by the alleged violations of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. The statute covers illegal discrimination related to race, color, religion, sex, national origin, including Jewish and Israeli identity. I also love the focus on this, but then when you look at what Trump is trying to silence and what he's trying to fine and punish like universities for is projects that do help people of color, disenfranchised people, like the things that the civil rights you're supposed to be protecting. He's essentially saying, but that's like woke bullshit. I don't like that. But what you're doing, that's clear anti-Semitism. When you let those demonstrators like come out and protest and demand that, this school divest from Israel, that was anti-Semitic, what you were doing. And they try to focus on like specific events. They try to say, well, it's like, oh, in this moment where you had students blocking Jewish students from going to school or going to their classes or things like that. Or, I don't have anything at the ready, but I've just heard like pocket situations where they're like, oh, this was a moment of like clear anti-Semitism and it was rife, it was rampant, it was everywhere. And it's like, look, on each and every one of these situations that you're calling out, and almost every single time, if we're talking about California, or we're talking about Colombia, whatever, they were addressed. And like more times than not, that person was like expelled or what have you, even sometimes up to like criminal charges. So it's like, no, they specifically went after those people and like handled those moments that they felt were like beyond the pale. But in terms of like actually having like a demonstration, being out, having these encampments, that's not anti-Semitic. But I really do feel like this administration and others are trying to loop the conversation and say, well, it's all anti-Semitism, which it matches and mirrors the Project 2025 bullshit, like, bar for bar, which is very unfortunate to just kind of see this shit. When at the moment you read that, and you're like, this is wild. There's no way you're going to tie these two things together. But that's exactly what this party did. That's exactly what the Trump campaign is doing or administration is doing. And so, I mean, in a lot of ways you could say it's working because Colombia, they bent over. They said, okay, we're going to give you millions of dollars. We want to get our funding back on. We don't want this conversation to drag out. We don't want it to get worse. I believe Brown University also did the same. Harvard is putting up a fight. They've done interviews, at least the president, I think, did. Excuse me. That was a good burp. Sorry. Saying, hey, we're going to fight this. This is wrong, blah, 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 blah. But behind the scenes, they're negotiating. And even in this situation, I think it's very much the same thing of like, you realize that, like, yes, what you're giving is a huge number and it's not fair and it's not fucking right. Like $1 billion. And granted, they are standing to lose currently, I think $584 million. So obviously, like, that sucks. You don't want to lose that, but you're giving up $1 billion over time. That's crazy for something that you are already one on top of, the issue that they're trying to address. But essentially what this is the Trump administration is going up to every single liberal, woke, Marxist, whatever, verbiage, you want to use here, and saying, give us money. You are anti-Semitic, give us money. Or we're just not gonna, let you have a school. We're gonna take as much as we can as a fucking government. We'll take it from you. So it's crazy to just, I keep using the word, but to, shake down all of these campuses for money. Like, you don't need to do this. But it's good for points, and I just think it's what Trump wants to do. And they get to do it under the guise of saying, like, yes, we are protecting the Jewish community, when it's like, no, you're just back in Israel here. Like, that's all we're doing. If I speak further, I don't know. It's a very frustrating situation to watch unfold, because you do understand that, like, wow, it's like, okay, it's noble to see these campuses, these colleges fight, and Gavin Newsom's rosy little words. How long are they really going to hold out? And not to mention, the Trump administration can always just keep kind of cranking the vice and making it worse and taking more away. So, I don't know. I mean, once again, we'll see how this unfolds. Because you can sue, so there's that. But I think, once again, behind the scenes, I think they're already crunching the numbers, and they're saying, I mean, this is bad, but it could get worse, y'all. So maybe we should, so I don't know. So yeah, leaving a bit, on a sad, somber note there, but that's living in America, baby. So it goes. So it fucking goes. But yeah, we'll definitely be back tomorrow with some more news. Count on that. Knock on wood. But yeah, let's see. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. That's a free action that helps out a lot. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts. And yeah, leave a like. Leave a cool comment. Nice comments are always appreciated. Shout out to the homies that leave nice comments. I see you. Thank you. Heart emojis. Sharing is caring if you'd like to do that, but no biggie. It's all good. All the stars, all the 5-star reviews are great. We love to see them. And but really, it doesn't matter if you do any of that, none of it. Thank you just so much for listening. If you made it this far, you're awesome. Thank you so much. And thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.